Okay everyone, good morning. We've reached Friday and already we're on the eve of another Celtic game. Yes, we're back in action, back at Celtic Park tomorrow, looking to go 5 points clear with victory over Ross County. It's the first of 3 league games we have over the next week, so an opportunity to take some really good steps domestically and be in an even stronger position than we are at the moment. And we'll look ahead to that game, of course. I'll do my predicted 11. I'll spend approximately 20 seconds talking about Ross County, not quite the in-depth Club Brugge analysis that I did the other day, but yeah, we'll do that. Obviously, a fair amount of chat still from Wednesday night. Did the reaction. It was out yesterday morning, me and John. If you've not checked it out, definitely do that. Lots of good points made by John. I was on the video too, so I don't know if you want to hear me talking nonsense, give that a go. A lot of you have been sending in your thoughts, comments on the match. Thank you once again for doing that. We're going to go through some of the more thought-provoking ones now, and we're going to start with, Logan Paul. Not that one, I hope. He's been in touch, saying Valle was the reason we got the goal. He comes on and immediately creates that space that Taylor failed to do. He must start going forward. As for Bernardo, he was 10 times better than Engels, Hatate and even Kalmak. He showed the levels that the others should be reaching. So just on Alex Valle, I agree that Celtic improved when Valle came on. Taylor didn't have a good game. I think, as I said yesterday, I think Valle carries the ball much better than Taylor. Taylor doesn't tend to really do that. Never has. He's got other things he does well. He's tenacious. He's a good passer. But I think last night when Club Brugge, whenever the game was, Club Brugge were obviously quite defensive, I'd say, in the second half, and really created some chances, but certainly they were holding on to a lead. And even when we equalised for the last 15 minutes or so, I think they were holding on for a draw, which was obviously good for them. But I felt that with a team captain like that, Valle carrying the ball and just stretching the game a bit more, committing players, I think made a bit of a difference. And I thought he was good when he came on. Having said that, I don't think we should completely do down Greg Taylor's ability based off yesterday or whatever day the game was. Need to stop saying that, Hamish. And I know a lot of you probably be saying, Taylor's had a lot of bad games at Champions League level. Let's not forget that we don't need to go back far to have an example of Taylor doing really well at Champions League level, creating a goal at Champions League level with a low cross. I'm obviously talking about the Leipzig game. So, yeah, that's specifically, I think just generally speaking on a number of these players, I don't think we should read so much into just that Club Brugge game. I think, a lot of the players that we're talking down here, and again, none of them were good. Taylor, Engels, Hatate. I found Hatate really frustrating. I found Engels really frustrating on Wednesday night. But both of those guys had really good games against Leipzig, so we shouldn't suddenly look at that and go, they're no use, we need to get them out of the team. Having said that, I think for this Saturday, tomorrow, you're going to see Valle start the game. I would think you're going to see Bernardo. Certainly Bernardo's going to start the game, and I think there's an outside chance Luke McCowan will start the game as well. So there's a fair chance you're going to have those 3 players, Hatate, Engels, Taylor, not starting the game. I think that may have happened anyway, so it's not necessarily based on Wednesday, but I think it's a real opportunity tomorrow for the likes of Bernardo and Valle, assuming that they both start, to really, really force themselves into the thinking and really make the manager have to start them at Pittodrie, which is a pretty big game. By the way, just on Alex Valle, bit of chat last night in the Scottish media about him. You may have seen headlines like this one: Barcelona make Alex Valle loan recall decision as Celtic game time fear answered after Champions League heroics. Very long, those titles, aren't they? Yeah, it all seems to come from an outlet called Sport in Spain, and I found this article and obviously did the old Google Translate thing, and there doesn't appear to be anything truly definitive in it. It's basically, I think, just a bit of an update for people based in Spain about how Alex Valle is getting on at Celtic. It talks about the start he's made and the fact he maybe hasn't started too many matches. Has he started 6 matches, I think it said? 1 in the Champions League. And then at the end, it speaks a little bit about Barcelona closely following his evolution. I mean, obviously they're going to be doing that. He's their player. So I certainly haven't come across any major revelation in this article or in this report saying that Valle's going to be kept on in January. To be honest, like, it's a season-long loan anyway, and there's been a bit of chat recently about him being recalled in January. I don't think that was ever going to happen, to be honest. I think he's going to play for us this season, and then we'll see beyond that. So, no real dramas there. Must say I didn't quite get the headlines, but yeah, it wouldn't be like the media to drum something up. Okay, Dim Sum Timmy. Still excited about Champions League play. If not for the mistakes, we could have won that game. To come back and get a draw after those mistakes in Champions League shows we have what it takes to compete at this level. Good improvement over the previous years, and I'm sure Brendan Rodgers will make more adjustments. I feel bad for CCV. When he is in good health, he is a great player for us. I agree with most of the other comments. Hatate looked exhausted and was dominated. I think a rest would do him well. Dyson would not be denied that goal. What an amazing goal. We got some positives we can build on as well. Yeah, I'm definitely looking at the positives from Wednesday night. We weren't at it in the first half, but the team rallied in the second half, and we finished a far stronger team there and fought back for what could be a pretty important point. So I'm taking the positives. Okay, XOCSM. I think the team and the stadium were shocked at how good Brugge were. Tactically, the much better team in that first half and played some great stuff. Players and fans should know by now this is a standard of the CL, and any team in this competition can play you off the park. Yeah, I think it was a reminder, and to be honest, I don't know if we needed this reminder on Wednesday night, that Celtic have to play well to beat anyone at Champions League level. If you're off your game to any sort of level, you're going to really struggle, because these are good teams that we're going up against. Domestically, clearly, we cannot be at our best and still effectively win matches. We've seen evidence of that this season, like Ross County away, we weren't good. We found a way to win that late on. Kilmarnock, even the first half at Tynecastle. But in the Champions League, like, as good as we've been so far, we're still nowhere near the level of a team that can just turn up and not quite be at their best but still win matches. It has to be like a proper big effort. Every single point in the Champions League is a hell of an effort. But that's why the Champions League is such an exciting competition for us, because you feel like everything is such an effort, and anything that you do manage to get, like even a draw on Wednesday night or clearly a victory over Leipzig, is celebrated so much because you know that it's taken a hell of a lot to get to that stage. So I don't think it's a bad thing that maybe the team have just got a little reminder on Wednesday night that you can't afford to be off it at all in any match in this competition, especially when we go ahead to the couple of games we've got coming up are not particularly glamorous names. Dinamo Zagreb are clearly doing pretty well. That's going to be a tough game, really tough game away from home, particularly young boys on match day 7 at Celtic Park. That's going to be a game that I think virtually everyone's going to be expecting Celtic to win, just given how poor they've been, the fact we've been good, and the fact we have home advantage. But we're still going to need a big effort in that game. You know, the champions of Switzerland, they're better than possibly every team we play domestically at the moment. So it's probably not a bad reminder, the fact that, you know, we got away with a point on Wednesday, but we know now we need to be at a really good level to get anything from any match. So I think that's all right. We get Paul McGuinness, 7139. I actually don't think the crowd were great last night. There was so much tension, and that transmits to the pitch. Do people really think that if they shout at players when they misplace a pass, that it's going to increase their performance? As an example, Engels is not hitting the heights he did when he came in, but he's only young and he needs to be encouraged if he's going to improve. I'm not saying that the response from the crowd is the sole reason for that, but it can't have helped. It's a sign of how far we've come in the last few years that we were disappointed with that result. Brugge are a very good side, and we could easily have been taken apart, and probably would have been if this had been a few years ago. Yeah, I've heard a number of people who were at the game saying that the atmosphere was a bit flat. So it clearly was. And to be honest, I think there's a number of reasons for this. I think society now has changed a fair bit. And just generally, you don't really... People, I'd say people maybe go... The majority of people go waiting to be entertained rather than going to really spur the team on. And obviously before the matches, the atmosphere's incredible. Though I heard a few people saying that maybe even You'll Never Walk Alone was a little bit more subdued than normal. Personally, I think You'll Never Walk Alone's played far too often. Obviously, I don't go to the home matches anymore, but certainly when I was going season before last, they were playing it like before virtually every game, and I always think You'll Never Walk Alone should be held back for big occasions, Champions League nights, derbies, and probably nothing else really, and really make it special. So that's my just a wee point. You Never Walk Alone, but generally speaking, obviously the team's performance had a big part to play in it. It wasn't exactly a performance from the team that would get everyone up off their seat. It was a bit of a sleepy performance from the team, and it was probably similar in the stands. Although I think the atmosphere at Celtic Park, even on Wednesday night, was still far better than the majority of grounds in Europe. I think also the home games we've had in the Champions League this season haven't been particularly glamorous, certainly not as glamorous as previous times in the Champions League. I mean, Slovan Bratislava, Club Brugge, Young Boys, they're not like household names Champions League wise. They're obviously still big games because it's the Champions League, but those teams on their own don't hold that real glamour that obviously some other teams we've played in the competition do. Even RB Leipzig, who are obviously a very good team, probably top 10 European team, certainly top 15, they're not the name of someone like Borussia Dortmund. So I think if it was someone like Dortmund we were playing on Wednesday night, the atmosphere would clearly have been far better. There's also more matches now, 4 home games in the league phase as opposed to 3 in the group stage previously. So maybe Champions League games are becoming less of an event, which I just think all these things are natural, but in the grand scheme of things, I think it's fine. Again, let's not judge everything and come to all our conclusions based on Wednesday night. Leipzig game, the stadium was rocking. I thought the Bratislava game, the stadium was really loud as well. It wasn't as loud on Wednesday. Wednesday wasn't a particularly great performance from the team, wasn't a particularly great performance in the stands, but we still got a draw. The atmosphere was still loud enough, and we move on. I think if we draw a big team, if we get through to the knockout rounds and draw a big team, Real Madrid, Arsenal, someone like that, there'll be no complaints about the atmosphere. I just think the best thing about the Celtic Park atmosphere, and the reason it's so good in Champions League nights generally, is because there's a sense that the team really need us. Now, obviously, the team need us everywhere domestically, but in Champions League nights, backs against the wall, up against a top team, they really need the support. And there's maybe just not quite that same sense this year, just because like we're playing Slovan Bratislava and Young Boys, and they're not those glamorous names, and obviously Club Brugge aren't a particularly glamorous name. But I've waffled a fair bit there, and generally I don't think it's a massive issue. I just think if you get the right occasion, Celtic Park will still be incredibly loud, and I think we might well get that in the knockout rounds. I just wanted to have a wee look at what the Belgian media are saying just as we kind of finish talking about this game for good. I always think that's an interesting thing to do. So we had HLN, who I think are one of the bigger outlets in Belgium. They say Club Brugge must be satisfied with a point at Celtic Park despite an improbable own goal. I love this bit. Listen to this. After the gift from Aston Villa, obviously the Tyrone Mings moment, Club Brugge, another insane moment in favour of the team from Bruges followed halfway through the first half. This time, Carter Vickers got into the Santa Claus suit. Love it. He slid the ball into his own empty net, a real gift for Bruges. Bewilderment all around at Parkhead, although the joy at club was no less. They conclude, in the end, the result was fair, although Bruges will still consider the exciting visit to Glasgow as a missed opportunity. Another outlet, VRT, chose to go down the road of the Bruges support with many of them wearing kilts in Glasgow. They wrote, many Club Brugge fans opted for Scottish attire to attend Wednesday night's fixture at Celtic Park. Fans were enthused by the prospect of seeing a great team like Celtic at work at close quarters. Ahead of the match, Ralph van den Bergen told VRT, I'm very happy that Celtic came out of the draw. Visiting Celtic Park was on my bucket list, and if it's at a time when club is playing, that's a dream come true. So yeah, just the brief consensus there seems to be that Club Brugge could have won the game. They feel like it's a bit of a missed opportunity in Belgium, but also that a point was probably a fair result given how we played in the second half. And to be honest, yeah, I think our draw was certainly fair in the match. I think ourselves and Bruges will both make the top 24. There's my big prediction. So who knows, we could meet them again, maybe, at some stage. Yeah. Okay, let's turn to Ross County then. They currently sit 8th in the Premiership, so they're having a decent enough season. They beat Motherwell last time out for their first win in 4 matches. We've already played them this season. It was a pretty challenging game, as I said earlier, up in Dingwall. Didn't play well that day. That was just after our Dortmund debacle. So, a bit of a struggle. We went behind. Penalty, wasn't it? First goal we'd conceded, I think, in the league. Still not conceded many more. And second half fight back. Was it Alistair Johnson scored, and then Nicholas Kuhn scored the winner. But it was a tough game. I think we'll see changes for tomorrow's game. I'm going for 5, actually. This is the team I'm going for. Schmeichel in goal, Johnston at right back. I think Liam Scales will come back in, just with his maybe managing Carter Vickers a bit. Scales next to Trusty. I think Alex Valle will come in at left back. Bernardo, I think, is a certainty to start. I think McGregor will be in there. And I think Luke McCowan might take the final midfield place. So a midfield of McGregor, Bernardo and McCowan. Kuhn on the right, Maida on the left, and I think Adam Ida will come in as well. Pretty confident. And I've been really in tune with Brendan Rodgers' teams. I think I've got about 3 or 4 of the starting lineups right in a row. So if I get this one right, there's solid evidence that me and Brendan are linked in some way. But yeah, I think we should be fine in this game. Yeah, clearly it's a match we want to win and win well, and potentially get it done nice and early, just to maybe rest a few players ahead of what's going to be a challenging game on Wednesday night. But yeah, back at Celtic Park, the games are going to come thick and fast. A few changes, but looking forward to seeing hopefully the likes of Bernardo, Valle, McCowan, Ida in the team. Just before I go, big thanks. We did make it across 11,000 subscribers earlier in the week. Really, really appreciate it. More and more of you watching the videos are managing to subscribe. However, still 45.6% of you watching videos in November aren't yet over in the corner with the rest of us. And subscribing is completely free. It genuinely takes, I reckon, about 3 seconds out of your day. And it's a huge help to me trying to grow this channel. So please, if you've not yet managed to subscribe and enjoy the videos, take a couple of seconds out of your day, click that button. And as I say, it would be massively appreciated. Oh, and finally, just a reminder that every single one of our videos is available as a podcast for you to listen to if you're out and about. So you can just go on your favourite podcast app, search for Celtic AM, will be on there, or even click one of the links in our description. Okay, thanks everyone. Love you all. Never said that before, but I guess I do. And I'll be back first thing on Sunday morning, looking back at the county game.